clunking of the elevator kept us company as we fell further and further down. There was no going back. Until we settled all this, we couldn't go anywhere. I'm not sure how long it was before the elevator finally came to a stop. The elevator doors slid open, opening up onto a cruel fate. When I see all of you gathered together like this, I realize just how few of you there are left. Your school life is slowly reaching its climax.
Just the worst.
Only because of you. Why? Why are you making us do such cruel things to each other? What? Do you really hate me so much? But I'm so cute.
Come on.
Stop goofing around and begin the trial. Don't rush me. Of course I'm gonna start it. I would never be like, stay tuned for the action-packed class trial after this commercial break. I'd never hold out on you like that. Okay, let's begin. Get to your assigned seats. And so the curtain opened once again. A deadly judgment, a deadly deception, a deadly betrayal, a deadly riddle, a deadly defense, a deadly faith, a deadly class trial. I think, to me, it's pretty obvious this is Celeste, but they might throw a curveball at me, and I think Fumi had something to do with it and then died somehow. I'm guessing Celeste killed him. Set skills. Increases the time limit for each phase, effective during the class trial. Well, I definitely need something that's going to increase the time limit, so let's equip that. I'm actually remembering to equip skills this time around, so. Focus gauge decreases more slowly during concentration and fever time, effective during non-stop debate, the Hangman's Gambit, and the bullet time battle. Sure, that sounds good. Breathing technique. Focus gauge recovers more quickly. Increases bullet capacity, effective during bullet time battle. Allows you to reload 2 bullets at once, effective during bullet time battle. Reload 2 bullets at once. I've not had to reload any bullets. Is that like a thing they're gonna throw at me here? I don't know what else to take, so I'm gonna take that just in case. Alright, let's do this. Class trial. All rise.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Now then, to begin with...
We already know who did it.
Was that?
It was Hiro. He does not have an alibi for when the murders took place, and we found him in that suit.
Yeah, you're real quick to point that out, aren't you, Celeste? I just hope Hina doesn't have anything to do with this, because she's all about pinning down Hiro.
Don't try and deny it. You killed them.
See what I mean?
I didn't. Someone knocked me out. I was asleep the whole time. I don't know anything about it.
Shut your murdering mouth, murderer!
Who are you calling a murderer?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I am sorry to say, Hiro, but we do have evidence. Blueprints for the suit. Parts we assume were used to build it, and all of it was found in your room. You have to admit, the evidence is quite compelling. It points to you as having created the suit and wearing it while committing crime after crime.
How many times do I have to tell you? I don't know.
Is Hiro really the killer, or for anything else, we have to make that clear. Alright, here we go. Make your argument. Yasuhiro's message. We're gonna let this run all the way through. Let's see what it says
Everything we
first.
found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough.
I wonder if I have to hit blueprints.
I don't know anything about that stuff. It's not true. It's a conspiracy.
Hiro, why? Why did you kill them?
No, just hold on a second.
Yeah, it has to be that. I mean, looking at the blueprints, that handwriting is awful messy. If I remember right, Hiro's handwriting is.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all...
No, that's wrong.
Nice shot.
Are
Are we sure Hiro really made those blueprints?
What do you mean?
Well, take a look at this. It's the note that Hiro wrote, asking everyone to meet up after Alter Ego disappeared.
Oh, that's smart. Let's mention Alter Ego right in front of Monokuma there.
The handwriting's obviously different, wouldn't you say? When you compare it to the blueprints.
I wonder if that's gonna come back to bite him in the ass.
There's no way you could think the same person made both of them.
Unless that person made it a point to disguise their handwriting.
No, the differences are bigger than that, I think.
Come on! I'm not smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting anyway.
So Makoto, are you saying you don't think Hiro's the culprit?
And he's not the only one. I think Hiro's innocent as well.
We agree on something.
Then who was in that Robo-Justice suit? Is it like Hiro said? Was there really someone running around in a second suit?
The suspicious individual hidden within the suit. Go ahead, Makoto. Tell them who it was.
And of course he passes it off to me.
So, who was in the Robo-Justice suit?
Suspicious individual in question, the one that must have been in a suit. It was Hiro. The Illuminati.
I got it! Other than Hiro, I can't think of anyone else it could have been. Obviously, he was the one in that particular suit, and we never found any kind of second suit.
Then there can be no doubt. Hiro is the prime suspect.
That doesn't make any sense. You just said Hiro didn't do it.
It makes perfect sense. Hiro was the suspicious individual in the suit, but he's not the culprit.
Right again, darn it.
So what you're saying is...
That's right. The culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the Robo-Justice suit.
What? Now that's a bold assumption.
And what reason do you have to make such a statement? You do have a reason, yes?
Of course. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to clarify first. So let's get that out of the way.
Hey, stop trying to boss us around.
All things have a proper order.
So what is it? What needs to be clarified?
We must clarify the method of transportation for Taka's lifeless body.
Well, that should be easy.
It would seem that his corpse was moved using certain particular items. Makoto, can you tell us what they were?
Things that were used to move Taka's body, they must have been the blue tart.
I got it!
There's still one more thing. The dolly.
I got it! They were a dolly and a tarp, right?
What's with the attitude?
So, let's see if I can explain. Taka's body disappeared from the equipment room, and then we rediscovered it in the repository. And when we found it for the second time, it was wrapped in a blue tarp, right? It was the same tarp that, up until then, was stored in the equipment room. So the killer must have seen it there, and decided to use it when they moved Taka's body. That way, they wouldn't leave any bloodstains while they were moving it.
Okay, that explains the tarp. And the dolly?
Well, they weren't gonna pick him up and carry him.
Same thing. I'm sure the dolly was in the equipment room when we first found Taka's body there. But when the body disappeared, so did the dolly. Later, when Taka's body reappeared in the repository, so did the dolly.
In other words, you think they used the dolly to move the body, am I right? But are you sure you are not mistaken?
Huh?
Are you absolutely positive the dolly was in the equipment room when we found Taka's body? That dolly was made specifically for moving large objects between the repository and the art room. It would be very strange indeed to discover it had made its way to the equipment room.
It would be. How'd you move it there, Celeste?
Is it not possible that it was in the repository all along, and you simply didn't realize it?
She's raised an objection. How do you respond?
Oh, shut up.
There is no shame in being wrong, and nobody expects much from you anyway.
Excuse me?
We have all accepted the fact that you rarely understand what is going on around you.
Okay, this is war now. Wow, I've never had anyone sound so nice while being so mean, but maybe I can change your mind. If I can just explain to them why the dolly must have been moved from the equipment room to the repository. New element has been added to bullet time battles. We're doing that already? Okay. Oh man, they're adding something new to it. Let's talk about reloading. Starting with this next bullet time battle, we're going to add one more ingredient to the recipe. On the bottom of the screen, underneath the tempo marker, you'll see your ammo count. It might be a good thing I took that one skill before I started that. Up until now, there hasn't really been a limit on how you destroy your opponent's statements. But from now on, just locking on and pressing left mouse button won't be enough to handle them. Now it will cost you 1 bullet to destroy a single remark. Once you run out of bullets, you can't destroy any more statements no matter how locked on you are. However, you can reload by pressing the tab key. Just like locking on, you'll have to pass the tab key in time with the tempo marker. Basically, just remember that the tab key now has a function along with the right mouse button and left mouse button. You will automatically reload at the start of fever time. Your ammo will not decrease. Oh, but if your action difficulty is set to gentle, you won't have to reload at all. In which case, you can ignore everything I just said. Well then, good luck and have fun. This is gonna be rough. I think I'm starting to figure out what I'm doing here, at least.
You had it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst, you miserable wretch. You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you.
I've gotten better at that.
I cannot agree.
This should prove it.
Take that. It's nice to shut her up.
If you're asking for proof that the dolly moved, I have it right here. When I found the dolly in the repository, one of the wheels had a blood stain on it. There was a pool of blood in the equipment room with a tire mark in it that matched the dolly wheel's tread. The killer probably rolled the dolly through the blood on accident as they wheeled the body out of the room. And as the blood dried on the tire, they moved the body into the repository. So there's my proof that the dolly was used to move Taka's body.
Jeez, does Celeste really hate me that much? Actually, about to get her killed.
Well, anyway, that was just something we had to get out of the way. Let's get back to the main subject.
Yeah, the subject of how Robo-Justice didn't do it. Because if it's not a killer robot, then what kind of robot is it?
Maybe it wasn't a robot. Maybe it's a Roomba.
I'm not sure that really matters.
I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit couldn't possibly be the killer. If you look back on how the body was transported, it will become immediately obvious.
If I look at how the body was moved, it'll be clear why the person in the suit couldn't have done it. What does he mean by that? Oh, this should be easy. I can't bend at the waist, I just gotta figure out where I can use this.
As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room. And from there, the body was moved to the repository, correct?
Yeah, the culprit wrapped the body in the tarp,
Okay,
then loaded it onto the dolly and wheeled it off, right?
okay.
Now, keep in mind that the dolly doesn't have a handle.
Well, yeah, but even without a handle, all you'd have to
That's
do
a-
is bend over.
No, it's wrong.
That was an easy one. That was a very easy one.
You're absolutely right that you could push a dolly without a handle if you stoop down low. But if you were wearing that suit, do you think you could actually get into a position like that?
What do you mean?
Think back to what you said when we were all checking out the suit together. Remember?
They just wanted an excuse to use this ridiculous image again. I'm blind as a bat in here. Can't see my feet at all. I'm surprised you got anywhere in this thing. I'm telling you, it wasn't me. And not to mention, you totally can't bend at the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
When you're in that suit, not only can you not see your feet, but you can't even bend at the waist. Am I right about that?
Now that you mention it, yeah.
It seems like it'd be awfully hard to push that dolly if you couldn't bend over.
Technically, couldn't you just push it with your foot?
Well, what's to stop you from simply pushing the dolly with your feet?
Oh boy, we agree on something.
When you can't even see your feet? You really think someone could kick the dolly all that way?
I don't see why not. Why do you need to see your feet to do it?
Yeah, it'd be totally impossible. Not that I can say for sure myself.
On top of that, if you were wearing such a rigid, cumbersome suit, it's very unlikely you would have the dexterity to go about wrapping the body in a tarp.
Well, that's true.
Well, I mean, isn't that just a matter of taking off the suit when you're ready to move the body?
There's absolutely no chance that the costume's taken off just to move the body, because you can't take it off by yourself. Hero's not strong enough, or once it's on, you can never take it off. It's just...
I got it! I don't think taking off the suit was an option. If you remember...
I don't know what's up with this thing, but I can't actually get it off. A little help? Why would you make something that you can't take off by yourself? I didn't make this stupid freaking thing. There's a clasp on the back that's keeping you from getting it off. It looks pretty sturdy. I don't think you can get it off on your own. You don't really have a choice. Let's help him.
That's true. It seems impossible to put the suit on or take it off without help.
Then, you really can't take it off by yourself? Hero wasn't just making it up?
Of course I wasn't making it up.
If he could have gotten it off by himself, I don't think he would have let us see him wearing it. Showing up in the suit was basically an invitation for everyone to suspect it.
Yeah, that's right.
So, it's really, really true that Robo Justice couldn't have moved the dolly?
To be clear, whoever did move the body, it couldn't have been Hero in the robot suit, correct?
No, wait. Just a second, if you please. Have you forgotten about the picture that I took? You all got a good look at it, did you not? The image of Hifumi being dragged away by Robo Justice?
That looks like one of those, like, photo things you could do at, like, a amusement park where you get your picture taken with something and kind of make it look like, this thing's grabbing me or whatever.
If whoever was in that suit is not the culprit, how do you explain that? Besides, do you remember what the now deceased Hifumi said?
How did you get hurt? That guy hit me. What guy? Robo Justice, or that's what I decided to call him just now.
So long as those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question.
That's what you're hoping, isn't it?
The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. It was Hero, without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gotta be right.
Come on, Hina.
Hold on a second.
It's still far too early to reach that conclusion. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it. Before we rush to a verdict, shouldn't we explore every single possibility? Instead of seizing on one viewpoint, the truth is uncovered by analyzing things from every angle.
Perhaps, but where do we go from here?
Let's review this series of unfortunate events from the beginning. Maybe we'll uncover something new.
What a pain in the ass!
I don't disagree, but our lives are on the line. If this is what it takes, we have to do it.
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down.
Yeah, about that.
All right then, let's take another look back at what happened. I suppose we could start with this morning. 4 of us gathered together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko, and myself. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up, so we went to look for everyone. That was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
It seems I was unconscious for about an hour after I was attacked by my mystery assailant. I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume. As it turns out, it was Robo-Justice. It also soon became clear that this same Robo-Justice had abducted Hifumi. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect. But not long after leaving the nurse's office...
What's wrong? I saw a shadow, something moving around at the top of the stairs.
When Celeste told us that, we decided to split up and search the second floor.
It was so obvious because she kept moving us around during that whole thing.
And soon after that,
I saw someone moving around on the 3rd floor, and I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. I saw him, the strange costumed man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. I was blocking the stairs, so he headed further down into the hallway and disappeared.
and then...
Bunga. Huh? What was that? That came from downstairs. It must have been Fumi. He's in a nurse's office. This is bad. Come on, we have to go back.
At that point, we decided to divide up into 2 groups. Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya, and Toko chased after the suspect. When we got back to the nurse's office, we found Hifumi, dead.
Except he wasn't actually dead.
And that's when we heard the body discovery announcement.
So he was the one that screamed, because he wasn't actually dead there. He was faking it.
I left Celeste and Hina there and headed back to the 3rd floor to let the others know what had happened.
Meanwhile, we had just discovered Taka's body in the equipment room. We must have found both bodies at almost exactly the same time, because we heard the same announcement not long after we discovered his body.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the 3 of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us. And she told us something very surprising.
Fumi's body has disappeared.
We rushed back to the nurse's office and saw that she was right.
Then we remembered we'd left Toko passed out in the equipment room, so we hurried back again.
This can't be happening. Are we hallucinating all this or something?
But when we got there, we discovered that now Taka's body had also gone missing. Next thing we knew, we were searching the school for 2 missing dead bodies. And after some time...
Celeste informed us that she'd found the bodies, and we all headed to the repository, which is where we rediscovered the corpses.
I think that about covers it.
I see. The whole thing sounds exceptionally complicated. It certainly seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
Okay, well, if that's true, then what?
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation.
Probably a good way to go about this.
And from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them. Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka.
Contradictions hidden in what happened to Taka. In order to uncover the truth of this case, I have to find them no matter what. Monokuma File 3. I think whenever they do Monokuma File is when I end up with one of those flashback things, so hold up.
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
I think we need to absorb order and shoot numbers, or whatever that was. Justice Hammers were numbered, but were they really used in that order?
So,
He kind of gives it
regarding
away.
Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
Alright, we need to shoot.
What makes you
The
say
next
that?
thing comes up. I think she's coming now.
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
There we go.
No, it's wrong.
Okay, that was kind of easy.
Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
Evidence that proves Taka was killed before Hifumi. There's something that relates to what time he must have died. Yeah, his watch. This must be a hangman's thing, yep. Wristwatch, okay. I need I-S-T W A. Have a T, I need a C and an H. Where's the C at? Up here. There we go.
Now I understand. I got it. Taka's wristwatch. See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer, because as of last night,
Hey you, how long were you gonna keep us waiting? Taka's irritated voice pierced the air as he stared pointedly at his wristwatch. It's almost 10 o'clock, you know that? Bedtime for all the little boys and girls.
so if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
I was kind of wondering what the deal was with the hammers.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder. But all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe.
Huh? What was that? That came from downstairs. It must have been Hifumi. He's in the nurse's office. This is bad. Come on, we have to go back.
When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body.
That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
Oh, I know! The They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on.
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up.
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then.
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body.
Plus, we've established she doesn't kill people that way.
Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway.
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things.
So what now, Kyoko?
I would not be trying to challenge Kyoko if I were you, Celeste.
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing. And according to what Celeste said,
We could not have been gone for more than a minute or two, though. So then the killer was able to get in and move Hifumi's body in that short amount of time. It would seem so.
his body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Team lift.
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
What? How?
If the dead body were to move itself.
The dead body moved on its own?
Oh man, we've got zombies now.
No! Not another... ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is, we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
Is everybody here forgetting that Hifumi came back to life in Hina's arms and died again?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That it isn't possible.
The idea that Hifumi was still alive, is it really possible? Broken wristwatch. I wouldn't think that has anything to do with this. Or if I have to absorb
Are
something.
you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
It wasn't
and that
Hifumi.
is why the announcement was made.
It was made because
Are
of
we really so sure about that?
Taka.
Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
I just grabbed that, but I think that's what I need. I'm sure the body discovery announcement was only made once, but Hifumi and Taka's bodies were discovered at almost exactly the same time. That's because they found Taka and he was dead.
Found Hifumi in the nurse's office,
So hold on.
there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
I might let this
And
run
you know
through
that
again.
how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
Okay,
And that
I think
is
I'm
why the
right.
announcement was made.
I think I need this for that
Are we really so
middle
sure
one there,
about
that middle option.
Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
I think. I might be completely wrong. I hope not, because I'm getting worse at these things.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
The next
No.
one.
It is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
I think Celeste says
And
it.
you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
Got it.
No, that's wrong.
That was a good guess. That makes sense, though.
Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if 2 bodies had been found, there really should have been 2 announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum.
No, actually, that was plenty. Huh? He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
Second body discovery announcement. First time it played was when we found each body in the nurse's office in the equipment room. The second time was when Hifumi died in Hina's arms. The second time was when just after Hifumi came back to life. When... Ooh, wait. Just after Hifumi came back to life, right? But that was also when both... Wait. It's not Toko. Just after Hifumi came back to life. Because it played after he died the second time, right? After he died with Hina? Just after Hifumi came back to life. He didn't really come back to life. He was kind of dying. He just wasn't totally dead yet. I hope I'm right about this. I'm gonna say when both bodies were rediscovered.
I got it!
Okay, I was right.
We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the 2 bodies.
That's kind of a technical thing there. Ding dong, ding dong. A body has been discovered. After a certain amount of time, which you may use however you like, the class trial will begin.
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
Then in reality, when the 2 dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
The glasses, I bet.
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
She's getting testy. Has to be proof that shows Hifumi was still alive. I have to find it and show it to everyone. Hifumi's glasses. Okay. This should be easy, because Hifumi's
So here's one
glasses.
thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the
Okay.
next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned,
That's correct.
there was no notable
That's
difference.
wrong. Glasses.
No, that's wrong.
That was an easy one.
In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
The evidence I found in the trash can in the nurse's office was glasses cleaning cloth.
I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot.
Princess. Pudgy Princess.
One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles from Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I bet Byakuya did.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
And it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
Blood packs.
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere! But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done! God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
The one who moved Taka's body was Sakura. Taka himself or Hifumi. That's obvious.
It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked? Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means, when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But That means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
I'm still trying to figure out how he died afterward.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
The thing that Hifumi stole from Taka, could it be that note? The note Hifumi had.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his...
Did he not use a pocket or something? Did he just like shove it down his crotch?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
I found a hole maybe we can use to escape. Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the equipment room at 6 a.m.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro, and that person could only have been...
Taka.
I got it!
That's obvious.
That's right! Taka!
And they set him up and killed him.
The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection!
And then Hifumi took the note off him, but it tore in his hand.
I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Happy! Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Yeah, I was a bit confused there.
Yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Man, Genocide Jack is seriously scary, but still, I can't let her get to me. Oh crap. Broken wristwatch, Hifumi's glasses, and a cleaning cloth. Well, the glasses and the cleaning cloth are related, so maybe it's the wristwatch.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to me?
At 6 o'clock, which is when it... Okay,
6 a.m., I believe.
that's where the wristwatch comes in.
The time doesn't matter!
Yeah, it does.
The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
No, that's wrong.
Figured that was it. That was the last message.
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note.
They set him up.
I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
This one seems easier than the last trial, unless it's just me.
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it? Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely, Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
Why would that surprise you? He probably killed him.
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
Proof that Hifumi stole the note from Taka would be this scrap of paper, I would imagine. It was in his hand, he ripped it from him.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There is only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure.
Yeah, I'm starting to think I was actually right about the outcome of a trial here. I think it was Celeste with Hifumi's involvement.
In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive.
No, he's dead.
Sorry, no.
There wouldn't have been a death announcement.
When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together. Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Ow.
Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Well, there was that spotless hammer they were talking about. Maybe that's it.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments.
That must be how it comes into play.
But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue.
Of course you don't.
So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
The weapon that was actually used to kill Hifumi, the whole picture surrounding this case won't become clear until we figure that out. Somehow I have to find the truth. Trying to see what bullet he gets here. Because there was that whole... There you go. Spotless hammer. I knew that had to come into play somewhere.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Maybe it was one.
Whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Hell.
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers. And,
That's it right there. That was it right there, and I don't have any noise to deal with. Fumi was killed in the repository, right? So the weapons used to kill both of them were actually similar.
well, One thing seems pretty clear.
Alright, it's coming.
The murder weapon had to be one of the...
No, that's wrong. The murder weapon wasn't a justice hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. It was wet.
But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the justice hammers used those as a basis for their design.
And that was probably
If that's
Hifumi.
true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
Whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him.
Yeah, but again, why would Hifumi have done this? They clearly explained before that only one person can get away with it.
Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
Unless, if he killed Taka, maybe he wasn't originally working with Celeste. He would have had to have been, though, because of the robo suit. Maybe she got him to kill Taka, I don't know. We did talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to work together. At least that's what we thought at first, but... Uh-oh. I'm not sure about this. Spotless hammer. I must have to absorb something because that's repeating that, and I don't see why that would come up again.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
I wonder if that's it, because she kind of said... She kind of contradicted Celeste right there, so maybe I just gotta follow her lead. Can we really say there's no chance two people work together on this? Because Kyoko just said there were two murders, like she was countering Celeste, so maybe I gotta counter Celeste with what Kyoko said there.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the
Yeah,
murder,
that makes sense.
only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is...
No, that's wrong.
It's not impossible because there were two murders. They weren't working
Since
together.
there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
Wait, I might be wrong about that.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk,
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person, because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured had happened. They just killed the accomplice. I still don't get why Hifumi would go along with that.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
The effort made to convince us the two murders were the same. That was the main characteristic this time. Kyoko must have noticed that fact from the very beginning, which is why she said not to look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing, although, when you think about it, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at this.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved, but then who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
Easy.
That's problem numero uno right now.
The true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions, and in the end, murdered him. In the debates up till now, the way cases unfolded, when you consider all that, there's really only one person who seems to fit. And plus, since there's so fewer people now, it's real easy to guess who it is.
Here's my answer.
Must have been right.
It was Celeste.
Ah, so I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
I mean, it's easily her because she claimed she was attacked by Robo-Justice, and we know Robo-Justice didn't kill anybody.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit brains, that lazy, worthless goddamn idiot!
Whoa.
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What's he talking about? What is it that only Hifumi and Celeste had in common? The screaming, the paper hidden in the pans, encountering a suspicious individual.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush, the adults are talking now.
Sorry.
As he said, only
Jerk.
Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
I saw a shadow, something moving around at the top of the stairs. That gave her away, like, right at the beginning.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen.
She was moving us around the whole time.
Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. I saw him, the strange costume man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. I was blocking the stairs, so he headed further down into the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
What was that? That came from downstairs. It must have been Hifumi. He's in a nurse's office. This is bad. Come on, we have to go back.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Why don't we split into two groups? I'll lead the hunting party. That seems much more interesting. Very well, then Makoto and Hina, you come with me to the nurse's office. I will leave the capture of the suspicious individual to Toko, Byakuya, and Sakura.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on.
That wasn't really piercing.
That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead.
I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
Not to defend Celeste, but if you took one look at Hifumi there, you would just assume he was murdered. If you didn't have any knowledge of anything.
I don't believe it! Everything, the whole thing was one big act!
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. We're all going to die here. We're going to die just like those guys died.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
I'm guessing what they mean is those guys, as in Taka, who we hadn't discovered yet, maybe? I think when she said that, I just assumed she was talking about, like, everyone else that's died so far in the game.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Byakuya said the Celeste comment doesn't make sense. But what is he alluding to? Well, didn't they just say what it was? Monokuma File 3 is not that, so I have to absorb something.
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died.
It's those guys, I think.
That is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it, what was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Okay, yeah, it's those guys. When she said that she should only have known about Hifumi's death, with that in mind, what's so strange about what she said is, she said those guys.
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here.
It's not that.
We are going to die.
That.
Just like those.
No, it's wrong.
That was easy because they pretty much gave it away before the thing.
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys?
See, and again, some people, when they say guys, they mean a group of people that can include guys and women. So I didn't think twice about that.
Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on. And then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit.
He wasn't conscious.
Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer.
Doesn't need one if you're taking a picture.
In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Other explanations? It was staged. It wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. The only other possibility is Hifumi and the suspect are dancing. Hifumi and the suspect have been drinking. Hifumi is dragging the suspect away. Ah, okay. So it's that.
I got it! It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible.
I don't know if I'd be laughing right now if I was her.
Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Uh-oh. Celeste thinks she can prove that there's no way Hifumi was dragging the suspect away. But is that really possible? Crap, I wonder if we're coming up on the end of this. We have to be. Shoot.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight!
We're gonna sit through
You tried
this.
to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all!
No way!
Okay, hold up. If I remember right, Hina said... She said that she couldn't bend at the waist. So it's not the message.
After I passed out.
Hold up.
Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight.
Okay.
You tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Costume.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright.
I might be wrong on this. The secret is her
If the person
blueprints.
inside the suit was unconscious,
It's not that.
there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
That?
No, it's wrong.
That was a guess. I didn't know if it was that or the blueprint. I guess it would be the costume, not the blueprint.
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
You totally can't bend at the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight. Oh yeah, duh. They wouldn't be able to slouch forward because of the suit.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
So they made it so it couldn't bend so that it looks like in the photo he's grabbing Fumi.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
You're in trouble.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Uh-oh.
Celeste? Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
I kind of want to see Celeste's alter ego fight Genocide Jill.
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Hey Fumi, who was it who attacked you? Who tried to kill you? Who killed me? That's right, I remember their name. Yasuhiro.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro.
Well, he must have been delusional.
In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Wait, but my name isn't really Yasuhiro. It's actually Taro.
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
He did say Mr. Naegi a lot. He said people's last names.
I got it! That's right! Our last names!
Exactly.
Oh shoot, I'm sorry, I
I
didn't mean
know
to
I
click
heard
that.
him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name.
To be honest here, I mean, he was dying.
Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to. And that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think
you'd take your false accusation so far I don't know whether to laugh or spit!
Nice accent.
Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I?
Actually, right now, in that pose you're making, yes.
What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
God, I hope Byakuya loses it like this when it comes his turn. When his turn comes up. Celestia still won't give up, so then I have to do something to make her accept it. Okay. E-handbook. Her name's gotta be on E-handbook. I need that.
Umi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
Alright, I'm gonna make sure I get the right thing here
There's
so we're gonna sit through this.
Here who might have that last name.
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is... Celestia Ludenberg! God damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me,
E-handbook, that's
that's
it.
the only truth there is!
That's it
Go
right there.
on.
If I remember, there's something here that shows its owner's real name. I'm sure Kyoko mentioned something like that at some point. It may not be related to the case, but it might come in handy anyway. Yeah, that's it. I got
Umi
her.
was trying to tell us.
My name is... Celestia Ludenberg! God damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me,
Got you.
No, that's wrong.
Though it doesn't make sense why Hifumi wouldn't have just called her what he always called her.
That's it. The handbook.
Like, he called her Miss Ludenberg, I'm pretty sure, at other points in the game, so why would he suddenly use her real name? That's it, the handbook.
what?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
This handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it. When you start it up, it will display your name. Always make sure you have the right one. Now, this is not your everyday notebook. It has so many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because... Until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes.
I like how technically there's no reason to do it at this point. We could just have a vote and be done with it, but we'll go for it.
And that'll bring everything to an end.
It's comic book time. Let's see, I was terrible with this last time, so... Okay, I got 24, I thought that was 24 hours at first. 24 minutes. Act 1. Okay, there's the killer who we're assuming is Celeste because they got that weird body and Hifumi's talking to them. Hifumi's making a deal with the killer. The killer is doing something with Hifumi, maybe shaking hands. Why is the bloodstained poster in here from the last case? This. Okay, we're gonna move around here a bit because I don't know what the hell is happening to... Wait a minute, he's being drugged there. He's got like a chloroform rag or something. Okay, they're putting him in the body. He's trying to move him around, I think there. Isn't that the ball from Leon? They're throwing stuff from the other cases in here for some reason. That's that, so we don't have to use any of those first three, I don't think. There's Kiyotaka checking his watch. There's Hifumi. Hifumi clocked him in the back of the head. The watch isn't broken, so I'm guessing that's the watch right there, and he's looking at it. He turned around, hit Taka, killed him. That's Justice Hammer 4 he hit him with, because you can see it in the other panels. I'm not sure why that mallet's there. That might be the clean mallet. That's her taking a picture. Okay, there's Celeste showing the photo to Makoto. There he is with the blood all over himself. Justice Hammer 3 was what supposedly hit him, right? Okay, there's them finding that body, and there's them finding that body. Then they left him. He got out. He wrapped the body up. Okay, there he did. He pushed the body. Okay, so what's here? He's happy about Celeste. Celeste clocks him in the head. I'm guessing that's her cleaning the hammer, maybe? Alright, so we're back a bit here then. Maybe that's Justice Hammer 2, because he got hit supposedly with Justice Hammer 2, right? So what the hell does this lead up with then? The clock, maybe? Because he was coming in. Then he's confused. Alright, I'm totally guessing this, so let's see if we're right or wrong here. We got 18 minutes, so...
The killer is you! Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes.
Oh, there's the chips on the table on that panel on the right, so that's definitely nothing.
First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro.
I'm convinced they made Hifumi one of the bad people here so they could draw funny pictures of Hifumi for this comic panel.
When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims, to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1 and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2 and an injured Hifumi to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But...
yeah, I was right.
while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository.
Oh, I get it. Those fumes coming off him were because he was sweating.
That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository.
Wow, so I got that whole thing right on the first try.
That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is...
I wonder if we have to do another bullet time battle. What the? Are they kissing?
Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no. Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Taiko?
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
I might have an A this whole time. I did good there. I did. I got 102 coins.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin.
Wow, I wasn't expecting her to be all about it. Well, not all about it, but like, not putting up a fight really here.
Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote, okay? Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
It's basically a formality at this point, but once again, you're totally correct. The blackened this time, the true killer who devised the whole stinking scheme was Celestia Ludenberg, or more precisely, Taiko Yasuhiro.
Honestly.
I lost. Well, that sucks. I guess trying to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Ifumi's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations.
I knew it.
So you really did approach Ifumi with this plan? But how did you get him to agree? I can't imagine he would have happily agreed to commit murder. I'm sure she relied on her specialty, lying. My specialty? Don't make me laugh. I didn't have to lie to get him to agree.
So then,
Then did you use, you know, food? I knew you'd figure it out, Kyoko. You're absolutely right. To get Ifumi to act as my accomplice, I used her. The laptop. For everyone who's still left, I'll avoid mentioning it by name, but it was the one thing Ifumi and Taka were both super into. Does she mean... Is she talking about alter ego?
Say what?
What? What are you talking about?
just a second.
Don't interrupt, we're in the middle of a very important conversation here. I'm totally out of the loop as usual. How sad.
In other words,
Then you're the one who stole it.
Indeed.
That's right.
I see.
And you used it to drag Ifumi into the plan you'd come up with. Right again. Last night after we had our meeting about how it disappeared, I paid Ifumi a little visit. What are you doing here?
Actually,
I was hoping I could talk to you alone. It is about what was stolen. I know who did it.
What?
are you okay with this?
It was Taka. He stole it. Aw, you lied to him.
So then,
And I have proof. Would you like to see it? As it turned out, I'd found a use for the digital camera. I'd taken you-know-what to Taka's room earlier and took pictures of it there. I deleted the picture as soon as I'd shown it to Hifumi, of course.
Damnation!
So it was him. But how did he do it? She was supposed to yell if either of us got close to her. You're correct, which is why Taka forced me to steal it.
Say what?
as for me,
Please forgive me. He threatened me. Aw, come on. So Hifumi wasn't even really doing it out of malice. Well, kinda, but not really.
Oh.
He did.
as for me,
He came to my room last night unannounced, and then it's hard for me to even say. He abused me. Really.
What?
And he took pictures. He said if I did not do as he asked, he would show them to everyone. So I had no choice. Man, they're going that route.
Damnation!
That's a crime, an absolute crime. That's heavy. I mean, I knew he'd gone a little crazy, but
Say what?
I never imagined he would go that far. It was amazing how completely he bought it. I can't express how enjoyable that was. You kind of deserve what's coming. I'm about to say something I've never said before in my life.
Completely unforgivable!
I'm going to kill him. I'm going to fucking kill him.
most unfortunate.
Wait, please. If you go now, you will be playing right into his hands.
Actually,
Taka is planning to use her to escape, and he has made you his target.
What?
Escape, you don't mean? Taka is going to try to kill you. The only problem with this whole thing is Hifumi should have been smart enough to realize it. Why wouldn't she just tell everybody?
indeed.
And also he can keep her to himself.
This is unforgivable!
That bastard. He has a Princess Pudgy Princess, or whatever the name is, costume hanging on his wall over there.
Completely unforgivable!
Bastard, 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 bastard.
Honestly,
Can we allow him to continue with these barbaric acts? Absolutely not. How could I? She...
I swear I will save her!
I have to save her.
actually,
Then, would you like to join in with me? It just so happens I have come up with a plan. I have devised a way to reclaim what he has stolen and escape this dreadful school. And with that, it is complete. What are you talking about? Oh, nothing. Hifumi agreed without a second thought. The effect that item had on him was remarkable. The power of love. Even a love as twisted as that can still drive people mad, it would seem. You disgust me. Yeah, that is pretty bad what she did.
I see.
I have another question for you. Was that strange costume Hifumi's creation?
Indeed.
Yeah, it was a real pain in the butt, too. All I asked him to do was make something to hide the face and general body size. I had no idea he'd make something like that, but it's my fault for picking him in the first place.
But...
So why'd you decide to make me the suspect? Because you're stupid. That's it.
Let's see.
And in that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must have been tough on your parents, so... I feel like I could cry.
Well,
But when you were explaining your plan to Hifumi, how did you explain the part about him playing dead? What she's asking is, what was Hifumi supposed to do after that, assuming you had actually let him live?
Are you okay with this?
That's simple. After he did his part and pretended to be dead, once someone showed up, I told him to say he'd been seriously wounded. He was on the verge of death, but he just barely held on. And he really believed that? Well, of course, that wasn't all there was to it. As I explained it to Hifumi, the plan was, while you were all questioning him about what had happened to him, I was going to murder someone else. At that point, Hifumi would have an alibi, so nobody could doubt him. I told him that, and he believed it. It all seems very straightforward, stereotypical. I just matched the lie to the level of the opponent. In fact, Hifumi ate it up. He believed the lie wholeheartedly, right up until the moment of his death.
so in the end...
So you had planned to kill him all along. But of course, there would have been no point to my plan if the one who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself.
What the heck?
How can human life mean so little to you?
Well,
That's a non-issue. I simply did everything in my power to win.
Don't be mean!
Now you sound like Byakuya.
I wonder about that.
No, he derives his pleasure from the thrill of the hunt. In that aspect, we are nothing alike.
Why?
Then what made you take things this far?
What the heck?
Was it really just for money? Are you talking about the $10 million Monokuma offered us? That is a lot of money, it's true. That's not all there is to it. From the moment our new life here began, my only thought has been escape. And she's the one that's been talking about, staying here all that time and making everything comfortable.
But...
But all along you've been saying how we have to accept living here.
You little bitch!
Obviously, that was a lie.
Hey!
I couldn't take it. I hated it from day one. More than anyone else in here.
You little bitch!
I wanted to get out. Every day was fresh torture. And do you want to know why, huh?
This is fine.
Because I had a dream. And accepting a life here would have meant nothing less than giving up on my dream forever.
Honestly.
And there was no way that I could ever do that. In the underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killing.
As for me,
And it was all for that dream. And what was this dream of yours?
isn't it wonderful?
To live in a European castle. A castle. And to gather handsome men from all over the world to serve as my butlers/bodyguards. I was going to make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. Once I obtained that, I would have created a perfectly aesthetic world of decadence.
This is fine.
Living the rest of my life there was my only dream, my only goal. That's what life is all about. Combined with my own winnings, Monokuma's $10 million would have made that dream a reality. I got right to the edge, but
There is nothing to be done.
unfortunately my dream has been scattered to the wind. Still, I don't have any regrets. I pursued my dream to the very end, so why would I?
Just the worst.
You sound so passionate, but you were really able to kill your own friends for it?
Oh,
Are you asking me to feel guilty? That's a pointless endeavor. I think nothing of sacrificing others for my own ends. I feel nothing. Wow, so she is as bad as Byakuya.
Do you understand?
That's all there is to me. That's what makes me complete. Isn't it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for understanding.
What is this?
That's what we should be saying, and plus, how can you be so calm? Don't you realize you're about to die? Why aren't you scared? Ooh, she's tearing up. My ability to lie is unrivaled, and I take pride in that. It's not just other people, I can even fool my own emotions. The conscious deceives the unconscious. And that's why you're not scared?
Yes, indeed.
That's right, I don't fear death, kill me however you like. But you know, if I could be reincarnated, if I had a choice then,
Isn't it wonderful?
I think I would like to come back as Marie Antoinette.
Hey,
You'd just get executed again. Maybe she likes that. Celeste smiled then. And when she did, it looked to me like a poor effort to force it. She claimed she could fool her own feelings, but that statement itself must have been her final lie. And that weak fake smile is what betrayed her.
Thrills, chills, kills!
You all done? Okay then, let's get rolling. Black and disturbed peace must pay the price.
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment.
For her, the ultimate gambler.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
Maybe they'll make her in the bread and they can spread Mondo on her or something.
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this. What?
This is...
Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way.
I'm surprised she did that.
Which is why... Actually, it's not important. Well then, take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again. In another life.
Oh boy, what's coming? Oh, they're gonna burn her. They're gonna burn her. The burning of the Versailles witch. How the hell can you be smiling right now? Okay, this is much more grim than what they did in Mondo. The hell? Oh, hell. Okay, that wasn't much better. She got slammed with a freaking fire truck. It's over. The third execution is over. Celeste's death is over. Celeste killed my friends, so I can't pity her, but I also can't deny that at one point I considered her a friend too. And for him to just come along and... Isn't it just awful? Someone couldn't cut free of their regrets from the outside world, and so more people had to die.
Extreme!
You guys are still young. You need to place more value on your lives.
What are you gonna do?
Jeez, and here I thought you guys were gonna pass the torch of hope to the next generation.
Let me out of here!
What do I care about hope? I'll throw it in the trash if you just let me out of here.
Too bad.
You're all the embodiment of hope, whether you like it or not. And it's my destiny to knock you down one by one. It's sad, yes it is, but that reality just can't be avoided. Don't talk like you're not responsible. How long are you gonna make us keep going through this? What do you want from us? God, I'm so sick of people asking me that. Give it a rest already. So anyway, Kyoko, did I see you get some kind of key type object from Celeste?
Hey, hey!
So, what's the deal with that?
What?
Huh, what's the matter?
So then,
I'll answer your question if you answer mine.
you...
What did you do? What did you do to me?
Ooh.
What?
Hey,
Answer me. What did you do to my body? What the hell?
Ooh, how exciting.
Oh man, oh jeez. Oh man, oh jeez. What do you mean, what did I do? I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. What was that just now? The mastermind did something to Kyoko's body. What does that mean? Okay, she is an android.
Hello.
Okay, things are getting kind of awkward. I think it's about time I got out of here.
Well,
Meanwhile, you guys can go on enjoying your school life. If you get lonely, give me a shout. Not that I'll do anything about it, of course.
see ya later.
So I'm guessing the conversation she had with the ball person that I'm assuming was Kyoko was about Celeste when he said something about a girl killing somebody. Monokuma disappeared, leaving us all depressed and in despair. Although it wasn't all despair, there was one small hope. Hey Kyoko, Monokuma already mentioned it, but what's that key that Celeste gave you?
so...
Most likely, it's the key to one of the dressing room lockers.
Huh?
Then that means Celeste probably hid it in there.
Hey,
I suppose sometimes it's easiest to miss what's right beneath your nose. Well then, we better go check.
Indeed.
Good idea. We left the courtroom and rushed to the dressing room.